Hello, wonderful darlings of the internet, and welcome to the latest episode, episode 4 of London Ascendant. This is our Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition live stream series. We are telling tales. All our social details are down in the about bit, along with a link to our YouTube, should you want to watch any of our VODs and get up to date on this story, and the story we run on Wednesday nights as well, which is called Simbaroom. The setting is called Simbaroom. The story is called The Copper Crown. I'm your storyteller, Matt, and I'm joined and helped today, as ever, by the wonderful Steve, our stream manager, who will hop on now, say hello, and then be banished back into the darkness from whence he came. Hello, Steve.
Hello there.
You're right?
I'm great, thanks. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to it.
Wonderful. Get out. Thank you, Steve. His help is, as always, invaluable. Now, we're going to do a slightly different style of intro and recap. This time, if you watched our Simbaroom stream last week, you'll have seen us try it there, and it worked pretty well. And this week, we're going to do it on Vampire as well, which is basically the players are going to recap, which means you don't have to listen to my voice for about 5 minutes straight as I recount the events of episode 3. So first off, let's introduce Justin. He plays Mandrel, our Nosferatu Haven expert. How you doing, Justin?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm glad to see Vancouver by Night in the chat, who hopefully will be adding us to the Reddit list of streams anytime soon.
Wonderful.
So I'm playing Mandrel, this beautiful Nosferatu. And shall I tell you a bit about what happened in the last session?
Yeah, tell us about where we picked up last week.
Picked up last week with Wynn, the vampire Wynn, who seems to be quite an important figure in this operation, showing him our winnings from the previous session, the human Ashad, and also talking a bit about what it is to be in vampire society.
Absolutely. Giving your fledgling vampire, Oscar Kane, a bit of a much-needed introduction to, just small concepts like Camarilla, clans, stuff like that. Wonderful. And then I believe you were given your own new assignment as a coterie. And let's have John come on. John, who plays Arthur, our resident Ventru pharmacology peddler. Let's hear about what happened next.
I just want to say peddler has such negative connotations. So next we were introduced to Cortland, who, of course, Arthur already knows. And he gave us a fantastic assignment to basically do a heist on a blood van, which just sounds wonderful. Mandrel showed herself up by gobbing on the floor in response to this. It was too overwhelmingly Ventru. And Cortland gave us instructions of a likely place to do the heist, which was an abandoned industrial area, and a van, which was not at all flashy, but it got us there. And was full of plasma that we could do a switcheroo. So, person on the other end still got what they wanted, and we get tasty blood.
Tasty blood. Blood which your group obviously quite badly needs, because hunting in London, really quite difficult at the moment.
Dangerous.
What with the whole omnipresent Second Inquisition and everything. So with that in mind, you wrapped up your business in Down Street, your temporary haven, a former kind of abandoned tube station in Mayfair, and you got to plotting. And for said plotting, let's bring on Pierre. He plays Oscar Kane, our fledgling Tremere and antiquarian. Hello, Pierre.
Hi.
How is Pierre?
Yes, I'm well. I am, doing great, just like Oscar.
Just like Oscar. And to let you know just how well Oscar's doing, earlier today while discussing the course of events in Discord with me, Pierre said, well, my middle name is Catastrophic Results. So that's how we're doing. So yes, what did your coterie decide to do with this blood van heist?
Well, we came up with, frankly, a genius scheme in which we were going to, we thought about basically all the possibilities, and eventually we settled on the idea that we were going to pretend like someone had been terribly injured, and that we needed help, and so we were going to hopefully get this van to stop. And then we were just going to mind control them and get them to help us offload all this blood into our van and swap it out. It's going to be nice and clean. Nothing could go wrong.
Absolutely. And of course, nothing did. Wait, let's bring on Neill, aka Alex, our resident prophetic vampire of unknown clan to some, but, well, blatantly obvious clan to some others. And how did the heist go, Neill?
The heist went beautifully. Everyone played their parts. There was a mild set of stunning of the poor driver before Arthur was able to take command of the situation. Said command was then very poor when it came to the execution of blood bag removal. Alex did a better job, but everything was perfectly serviceable. And everything seemed to be going smoothly until enough Nosferatu arrived.
And on that note, is anyone else getting a bit of a wonky volume on Neill there?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. That's fine.
Little underwater.
Little underwater. That's fine. Let's see how it goes before we tweak anything. Yes. So the heist went well, as Neill said. Apart from right at the very end when an unknown Nosferatu appeared, as they do, and immediately seemed to assume that you were another set of vampires, and that you were in his territory before he realized. Another set of vampires he'd frequently had to kick out of his territory before he realized you were unknowns, and basically said, "Who the fuck are you?" And that is where we pick up in a London supposedly devoid of vampiric unlife. John.
I would also like to say, for anyone who's paying close attention last time, as I reminded of this several times once we went off air, was when I used Mesmerize, I forgot to do my rouse roll. So, witness.
Witness him.
I gain 1 hunger. And we will retroactively apply that to the last 5 minutes wherein nothing happened.
Well, that's your karma for having forgotten it. I think is losing your rouse roll. So here we are. You were in an abandoned industrial park in Lambeth in London, and you are confronted by this unknown Nosferatu. He's wearing, as I described last time, leather jacket, Killing Joke shirt, black jeans, and has a floppy, ungelled, not that you use gel with it, but unhairsprayed Mohican flapping down over his grotesque features. And behind you, the driver of the original blood van with which you're doing the swap with some plasma that you have. He's still going about his business, carrying the blood and the plasma between the two vans. It's worth noting, by the way, exactly why that's happening, since we didn't really cover it in that recap. Essentially, the idea is you're swapping blood for plasma because plasma is not that much used to vampires, but will do as for the purposes of what this blood van is providing blood for. And it's a way to get the blood without people realizing blood is missing. Because obviously, if you just heisted it and nicked it, the Second Inquisition would be like, someone just heisted a blood van. Could it possibly be vampires? Yeah, that's the idea. So with that in mind, the Nosferatu has just said, "Who the fuck are you?" and go.
Who the fuck are you?
He kind of squares up a bit and says, "This is my territory, Lick. You answer first."
We are with the Camarilla.
Are you?
Yes. Although intelligence must be less good than it once was, as we had been informed that this was no one's territory. We deeply apologize for the upset, but I'm afraid we must continue with our mission for now, although we will pass on our concerns of your territory's claim to superiors.
It's just out of character, but it's worth noting. Oscar probably isn't too aware of this, but certainly Mandrill, Arthur, and Alex. There's a kind of subtext that's definitely been hammered into you to all your missions of find out as much as you can if you actually do encounter any live vampires. because there's as far as there's no intelligence, as you said, on whether vampires are still active in the city of London. You know what? That was a very lucid and calm, as we could expect from Alex. Bit of persuasion there. Why don't you give me a roll for that? Your choice of, I think that can be your choice of either charisma or manipulation, or you know what, or composure. So any social attribute, and give me a roll with that with persuasion, please.
I'm tempted to rouse the blood, but it is quite important, so I'm going to do that. I failed. So
Justin has just asked in chat if sense the beast is possible. It absolutely is possible, Justin.
Cool. Then
go ahead.
So,
is there a roll for that?
Yeah, I'll make an animalism plus resolve roll, and it's
for it.
opposed by a composure plus subterfuge if they're trying to avoid being.
They're not particularly trying to avoid it, so just give me a roll and let me know if you get success.
I am spending a willpower.
Is this a willpower on the persuasion, or are we still on the rousing the blood?
On the persuasion. I failed the rouse. I have 3 successes.
Okay.
And the same here for my sense the beast.
Okay. Is it? Do you get the impression from reading the rules, Justin, if sense the beast is kind of an on-off switch, or is it intended to give you a general gauge on how riled up a vampire is?
So it says you can detect things like whether they're intending to do harm or whether they are like. It's not quite a dial, but it seems to indicate that there is some gradations, and also then
some gradation, but not like fine-tuned. Okay.
No.
You get the impression this vampire could definitely he's definitely on alert, but you don't feel that he has immediate aggressive intentions on you.
I think that's the kind of information that's intended to be gained from it. And I think then, from Nosferatu to Nosferatu, I think it's pretty safe for me to bet this is a Nosferatu, right, given their general appearance.
He's in no way concealing his Nosferatu clan bane. He's visibly a Nosferatu, yes.
Unless Alex is going to be immediately saying something, I'll probably step in. Do you have something you want to do, Alex?
Sure.
Or?
Well, Alex made a 3 on that roll. The Nosferatu kind of... You can see it like when he seemed to get a bit more riled, especially with Arthur's rejoinder to him, and you can see him kind of wind back a little bit now from what you've said. Yes, Alex.
In case it matters, I chose to use composure because I figured that Alex was being more
staying calm and
rather than trying to manipulate him. If that makes sense.
No, I think that does make sense. Well, yeah, he seems to be kind of like back on his heels a bit now. So, Justin, what was Mandrill going to say?
I think Mandrill would kind of take a few slow steps towards this Nosferatu and just say, I think maybe we've got off on the wrong foot here. We're not here to feed. We're just passing through. We're doing something, a job, a Camarilla job. If that's a problem for you, then we have a problem. But otherwise, we're not here to step on your feet.
Guessing you're new in town.
Pretty new, and we weren't expecting anyone else. To be honest, wherever you lie, it's good just to see a few other kindred around.
All right. Well, this here, and all nearby, this is Jack's. All right.
Well, Jack, I am Mandrill. My sire is Duck, and we're very glad to be presenting ourselves to you here. I don't know what kind of structure there is generally around, but we don't want to be going around anyone's turf without their say-so. We respect the rules and the ways, and we didn't mean to be causing any offence.
If I may, lady, gentlemen, whilst this is a very important matter, may I suggest that we deal with this current matter and let our friend be on his way, perhaps after some encouragement to forget this happened, before we continue this and risk any any issue.
What, John? What was the exact nature? Can you give me just a brief rundown of the instructions Arthur gave with his mesmerism to the driver?
If I can remember exactly,
I think it was load the
I think it
crates,
was
right?
take the blood from your van and swap
Uh-huh.
it with the blood in our van and put it back in yours.
Okay.
And
Was there no end kind of coda to that? No kind of, and then
no,
drive off.
the general
and
plan
then
was that when we are
forget?
almost done, Alex will swoop in with the
Because Alex has the specific forgetty power,
the
right?
neuralizer.
Yes. Okay. Well, the driver is stood at the back of his van, and you can hear the door of it rolling, slamming shut, and you can hear him going, "What?"
I'm going to try and pounce towards him. Not on him, but like
Jack kind of leans into the group of you and goes, "Do you want to deal with that?"
Hello, good sir.
Good.
And-
Are we,
Yeah, if I get
are we
attention-
close to him or?
Yeah. You're within like 10 feet of him. It's the matter of a second to bounce over to.
I will assume that I'll use forget and then duck out the way so we can't see that I'm there anymore.
Sure. I take it there's no roll or rouse check
Not,
for that.
not unless he's resisting. And
No, he's not, no.
and the duration is just a few minutes, so basically your discretion of how much of the last thing he forgot.
I think that's fine. I think it should sort it, right? We'll find out if it didn't later. But I think that's reasonable. The driver kind of blinks a bit and looks around and says, "Can you get your van out of the way?" Jack has kind of. Well, you can't see Jack now because you were all kind of looking at the driver.
Can't see Jack.
Can't see
yeah,
Jack.
sorry about that, mate. The crates just jumped out at us.
Yep.
They were coming right for us.
Yeah, let me help you back into your van. We'll get it right out of your way.
He kind of turns and says, "Yeah, all right. Just, this stuff, it's quite urgent."
Absolutely.
Cool. I take it we don't have to role play you backing a van up and so on and so forth. Yeah, you move the van out of the way and or your lorry out of the way. Although, yeah, the exact distinction between the two. You move your lorry out of the way, and the van, the actual blood van, drives off into the night. And a voice from behind you again says, "All right, let's have a look at what you got." And no one well, did you close the back of the van? Because you were reversing it, but you don't need to.
I don't remember doing it.
No, then that's fine.
No, we didn't say we did.
No. So Jack is kind of peering into the back of your van at all the fridges and says, "So, you acquired this in my territory, technically."
And we would be delighted to invite you back with us to discuss an equitable exchange of services.
Fuck off. Give me 5 bags of this and we'll call it even.
There's thousands of bags, aren't there?
There is
Like,
specifically 1,000 bags.
Alex,
I think 5 can fall off the back of the truck.
I am sure there will be no issue with that. And I'll look around at compatriots.
I trust you, man.
But
Yeah.
so far, this is. We agree that 5 bags is a good amount of bags, but I don't really see us. I think some payment is due, but 5 bags. Surely there's something you can tell us about what's going on in London for 5 bags of blood.
It also seems
Ooh, you drive a hard bargain. What do you want to know? He's like pulled himself up into the back of the van and is like rooting around in the fridge.
Sure. Well, how did you survive the Inquisition?
Didn't. Arrived about 2 years ago. I suppose I've survived since then. He
And
closes the door of the fridge until he's got like 5 bags of blood, and he says, "Surviving's easy. It's only when you try and get things done that they pick up on you."
I see. Would we be able to get some form of contact details for you so we can put you in touch with the wider mission?
Mission.
Why, to retake London, of course.
Oh, balls.
You think that's
Any
a bad
bold
idea?
can be slain.
Look, between you and me, I've kind of given up on trying to help the Camarilla do business. He jumps down from the back of the van. But if you want to know what's up, there's a fair few kindred still hanging around in their own territories, staying quiet, staying alive. Occasionally we get refugees coming through, like the Licks who try and pick up herd in my territory.
And once again, we didn't want to do that. But there's quite a few of those licks, are there?
They come and go. This one group's been here a while, over in Cold Harbor. You want to go talk to them, you can go talk to them.
You were saying that you've existed with the Second Inquisition for 2 years. Are they aware of the existence of vampires in London?
Oh, yeah. They know there's a few of us still about.
Okay.
But we're not causing trouble, are we? We're not trying to take over systems, governments, banks, emergency services. All the things I imagine you've come back here to do.
Alex smiles beatifically.
Well, you've got to start somewhere.
Well, look, this group of Licks, the ones in Cold Harbor, they're clearly refugees coming down from the north. Maybe you can take them in.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. Thanks for your help.
Because I, for one, think their nights are numbered if someone doesn't, and I ain't doing it. I've got enough taking care of myself.
I suppose if we got rid of these licks out of your area, stop them bothering you, maybe we could come to talk to you again sometime. If we ever need to know anything.
Yeah, all right.
Sure.
We'll look into it.
Excellent. I hope you have a very pleasant rest of the evening. It's been wonderful meeting you.
All right. He pulls a kind of ragged strip of paper out of his pocket, jots something down on it, passes it over. That's their haven.
Meanwhile, this is happening. Can I get back into the back of the our lorry and check if any of check the fridges for how much has been taken? Like if I can see.
It's difficult to say because each fridge has 100 bags, and he's taken them out of one fridge.
But it doesn't look like he's stolen 100.
No. He hasn't crammed several dozen under his leather jacket or anything.
Just checking.
If you had to guess, yeah, he's taken the amount.
He might have taken more, but not too much more.
Yeah.
Okay.
He backs up a couple of steps and says, "Don't come here looking for me again, because you won't find me. But if you move them on, we can talk."
And how can we contact you again?
You won't.
Oh.
He paces off a few steps and kind of, as he kind of moves behind a dumpster, and then he's gone. Like he doesn't come out of the other end of behind the dumpster.
Okay. Well, that went well.
Pretty much.
Wonderfully. Should we return? I would not wish to overstay our welcome.
It's just obviously it's up to you, but just so you know, it's still quite early because the van arrived more or less as early as it possibly could have. So it's about midnight now. So and yeah, all four of you are fairly familiar with London. Cold Harbour, and therefore probably the address he gave you, is literally maybe a 5-minute, 10-minute drive away.
But we do have a lot of blood.
Yes.
Sure. It's in a very secure lorry, but I'm not trying to influence you. I'm just saying, should you wish to efficiently go to the various places you might want to go to, it's not on the way back, it is in the opposite direction, but you could certainly drive to Cold Harbour and check it out and then get back to Down Street tonight without any problem, unless something horrible happens there. But why would that happen?
We could at least stake the place out, take a look, you know?
I assume that those licks he was talking about wouldn't be any threat to experienced vampires such as yourselves, right?
Depends on how many there are and how much they are emboldened by the prospect of a van full of blood, especially if our good friend was not being honest and instead phoned ahead to let them know that four vampires were arriving with a van load of blood.
Okay, I take that point. That seems good. I've gone from being relaxed to once more being on edge. Let's go. Let's leave here.
Sure. So is that Alex definitely sounds like they want to head back to drop off the lorry first. I'd say that the only complication I can think of with that is you no longer have your own transport. Because Arthur had to dump his rental car, right? So if you're going back to Cold Harbour, you're either on public transport or you're walking. And if you're walking, it's certainly doable, but it definitely puts you on more of a constrictive time limit. But again, I'm not trying to influence you. You make your choices.
Or a taxi.
Or a taxi, yeah, sure.
Still a long way for a taxi. Yeah, well, we could just have a look, you know? Just a look.
A drive
No,
past.
look. No, I want to look.
I mean,
What's your position on this, Arthur?
For that matter, if you wanted to find a random place to park the lorry and then walk to Cold Harbour, that would also be a lot quicker than going back and, many options.
I don't really want to drive the analog of an ice cream van through a birthday party.
let alone if we are discovered by mortals somehow.
That seems like 2 votes for no. And then, Oscar, what was yours?
I think I was on board with them, so I'm sorry, Mandrill.
That's okay. We've got plenty of time.
Sure.
Especially once we have a lot of blood.
Is it? I'm assuming it's a reasonable assumption that you're driving back to Oak Row, which is where you picked up the lorry from and where you instructed to park it up again. You're driving back there and getting out. Are you then going back to Down Street, or are you from Oak Row planning out the rest of your evening?
I think we should go. I think we're free from Oak Row to go to this place. I don't think we're under any other instructions.
You have to find your way there, but yes.
Yeah.
No, that's the end of your mission. The end of your mission is returning this lorry. There's nothing. You don't have to report in. You don't have to. This is it. That's what you were told to do.
We answer to know that.
Would probably park up the van, but before we fully exit it, I'm going to take 2 blood bags from the back of the van.
Are you trying to do this covertly, or are you doing it openly?
Is it just us around?
I mean, there's a few people walking on Oak Row, but no one close enough that they see see that what you're holding and what you're doing.
There's no ghouls waiting around to start unpacking.
No. There's no one waiting. No.
Then no, I'm going to be obvious about it.
Okay. What are you going to do with these blood bags?
I'm going to tuck them into the secret pockets of my jacket where I can hide slightly bulgy objects.
Sure.
It's always good to have bargaining tools.
Or lots of flat punch-out objects.
Yes.
For when Arthur goes to his board game nights. So yeah, you can. Yeah, the blood bags are like so yay big, so you can definitely tuck one in each little secret pocket that you have. Yeah, and is anyone else commenting on this?
No.
Alex will take one and drink from it immediately in the privacy of the van, as Alex is very hungry.
Sure. Take one from a fridge, not from Arthur.
Oh no, from the fridge.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
And also, my desire for this session was to escape from that whole situation unscathed, so I'm going to restore the willpower as well.
Yep, that's absolutely great. So yeah, reduce your hunger down by 1. Unless it's, the rules. You can't go from 1 to 0 from a blood bag, but you can go down to 1. That's the generation and blood potency you are all at. So, with that in mind, is anyone else doing anything with these, or just Arthur's taking 2, Alex is drinking from 1 immediately? Mandrel, Oscar, any kind of interaction with the blood beyond that?
I'm disgusted by this behaviour. Frankly, I think it portrays a lack of self-control.
By which one?
Both of you in your higher clans, rules for thee, not for me.
Oh, from your perspective, higher clan, yeah. It's worth noting, by the way, because I think you mentioned that before. You are aware that high and low clans is completely a medieval concept and isn't in.
I think. Well, there is a lore sheet about it for one.
Yes, and it makes it clear that that's for people wanting to play a new version of Vampire Dark Ages.
Okay, fair enough. Well, either way, I think Nosferatus have a long oral history, and I think that these kinds of things take a long time to filter out.
Yeah. Well, to the Nosferatu, everyone else is a higher clan, right? So,
yeah,
possible exception of the gangrel.
If I see Mandrill giving me looks about taking these blood bags, I'm just gonna be like, they might be hungry.
Sure.
Extra negotiation. It's always good to have something that someone else wants.
I think.
Do you want to try and boost one of these cars?
What in this particular place where we've parked the lorry?
Cheaper than a taxi.
It's never a skill set I invested any time in learning.
I tried it once.
I could try, but it is certainly not my strong point.
It's certainly something you could do.
Do we think that any of these could belong to the Camarilla?
It seems unlikely. I am sure they would be using them or have them in a secure location. Regardless, if we wish to do something, I suggest we do it before we attract too much attention, standing around a car or truck at this time of night.
Yeah, so is the intention, no matter what you do, get a little bit of distance from this lorry first?
Yeah,
maybe boosting the car next to it might not be a great idea, Okay, sure.
I just want to raise the idea in case taxis, but it's
not a bad idea.
Because taxis are so hard to come by in London.
Do you want to? Let's say you walk a little distance from Oak Row. Let's say you walk, and a little bit, you start walking in the direction of Lambeth again, which is across the Thames, but still a little bit in that direction. But for now, you're still in Mayfair, which is a fairly affluent location. Do you want to try and boost a car, like a nice car from around here, or do you want to try and get to a worse neighborhood and try and
a real crap one is my vote.
A neutral car. Something we were not likely to be stopped in for any reason.
Sure. Okay, well, tell you what, why don't you, on the way towards the Thames, why don't you look around for a car like that, sure. Alex? Why don't you give me a look plus car roll? Why don't you give me a resolve plus drive roll? And does anyone? Who else has drive?
I have drive.
I don't have drive. I do have larceny though.
Oh, okay, then you can give a larceny roll. And who's going to be driving it?
Depends how good it is.
Either John or I.
Okay, well, you know what? Just take one extra die from help from that. You both have drive, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just take one extra die from that.
For one total, sorry, one extra die.
One total, yes, just from one.
I also have streetwise if that's relevant. but maybe it's not the same type of thing.
I have street. Well, I have the same thing anyway.
Larceny is definitely more.
3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. You know what? I think 3 successes is enough to say you wander for a while and then you find a kind of a bit of like a battered Honda, but nothing that looks like it's about to fall apart or anything. And you basically kind of walk past it and then kind of double check, and you notice that the lock is up.
Well, my comrades, I believe this vehicle has been laid for us. It appears that the stars truly are aligned for us, and I'll immediately get in the front passenger door and sit in.
Cool.
Can I do a quick check of the dashboard to make sure it doesn't have like a dash cam or anything?
This car definitely doesn't have a dash cam. No.
Okay, cool.
It's probably about 20 years old or something at least. It definitely doesn't have a dash cam. But that gets you where you are. Now, could you give me a dexterity plus larceny roll to actually hotwire the damn thing? Because they definitely, while they left the door open, they did not leave the key like.
I'm happy to give it a go, or if anyone else wants to give it a go.
Well, if it's Alex in the driver's seat, it's probably Alex.
Alex jumps to the passenger seat.
Oh, in the passenger seat. Well, it's like I say, it's a dexterity plus larceny roll. So whoever wants to try can try.
Can I? Alex will not want to lead this attempt, but they would like to assist if that's possible.
Sure. Yes, you can take an extra die for that. Whoever's making the roll. That is correct. That is a rule in V5, right?
John, do you want to do this, or should I do this?
I have 2 in larceny.
I don't have any larceny, so
That's great. That's fine by me.
I have 2 in larceny. Is that okay?
I get. How many successes do I need?
How many successes do you get?
I got 2, but one was a hunger die thingy thing. But yeah,
But I mean, that doesn't matter.
sorry,
They don't get taken away or anything.
That was what it was.
You got 1 success.
I thought it was 2, but I was just reading the dice rolls wrong. 1 success and 1 bestial failure thing.
So did you get a bestial failure? What app are you using?
I got 1 success.
Oh,
If
right,
I
okay.
fail this roll,
Because I didn't give you the target.
failure.
Okay. You don't fail, but you've only really just started doing it. So if you wanted to use a willpower to re-roll, otherwise you're going to have to roll again, and it's going to take a longer amount of time. And you're not on a completely quiet street.
And I can re-roll any non-hunger die, right?
Up to 3 non-hunger dice.
Well, then I will re-roll 3 non-hunger die, and I got 2 more successes. So that's 3 successes overall.
That's absolutely fine. You kind of scratch after you realize what you're starting with isn't working. You kind of swear quietly to yourself and carry on fumbling quite furiously until, with a kind of coughing roar, the car starts.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit rusty.
Great job.
Okay. So I'm going to assume you're going to. Sorry. You can ask these things in out loud, Justin. You don't have to write them in the chat because otherwise I have to read and then respond.
That's fair enough.
Did you? Yeah, we didn't say to refresh willpower at the beginning. You gain whichever of your stats is higher, composure or resolve. You gain that much at the beginning of every session. Yeah, you don't have to. It always happens.
So I'm happy to drive. The space in the back seats. I'm willing to get moving. If,
I'm in the back.
What I just probably say is get in. That's probably the easiest thing to say.
I don't think we need to fine tune mechanically and role play how we get into the car. Oscar and Arthur can pile into the back and off you go. Are you going straight to the address you were given?
Probably to a nearby adjacent residential street.
Okay,
I might try and go via.
Foot.
Yeah, I wonder if I can go via roads that are less likely to have cameras and things like that. Or is that not really?
You're not entirely sure what roads they would be.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
You can, ultimately you don't have to take this car back with you or anything, I guess.
That's true.
Or whatever. You drive over the Thames and towards Cold Harbour. For anyone who doesn't know, Cold Harbour is a wonderfully named area in the borough of Lambeth on the edge of Brixton. It is certainly not an affluent area. And lots of that, like the people who live there are kind of socially, not socially, but monetarily disadvantaged. It's quite an impoverished area. dominated by the Black British community in London, and it's that kind of Brixton vibe. That whole culture is pervasive there and has been horribly downtrodden, even more so in the world of darkness than in reality. So it's not a very pleasant area. You find a place to park, however. There's lots of different places to park. The street you are on is the next street over from the one you were given, and it is, there's quite a few boarded up apartments and shops here.
I'm sort of studying them to see if I can see any sign that like vampires could possibly be around here. Does anything look out of the ordinary to me?
Does
it just look like
you know what? Give me a resolve plus streetwise roll, please, Oscar.
Okay.
And let's set that at difficulty. Let's set that at difficulty 3.
Okay, that's 4 dice. I got 2 successes, so.
Okay. No, some of the graffiti looks quite distinctive to you, but you don't take long enough time to kind of really take full notice of it.
Sure.
Maybe if you're in an area where there might be a lot of graffiti, again, you can make another roll and see if you pick up on anything there.
So what's our plan here? Are we just going to go in and knock on the door and say, party around our place?
You're suddenly all about...
Go for it.
You're suddenly all about plans, Mandrill. I thought you were spur of the moment gal. No? Let's just see how it goes.
Let's just see how it goes.
Everyone seems to be nice around here.
One thing you'll learn about people who about my family, Oscar, is that we like to have plans. We like to know what's going on, and we like to know what's going to happen. Preferably, we like to have a hand in those plans and shaping them.
Ah. Okay.
If we assume that they are refugees, perhaps someone less intimidating should be the one to start a conversation.
Arthur?
Well, I was actually thinking that I could speak to them, and I'm sure that if they know Jack, Mandrill could function as a kind of gentle reflection on the gentleman we met earlier this evening.
He
Yes,
was
I'm not sure
hideous.
if I'm particularly considered non-intimidating in this kind of area, I say, gesturing at my fine Italian suit and the boarded up windows.
I agree.
The guy in the $4,000 suit is not going to go over it.
I think that's our third Arrested Development reference on this series.
That's fair enough.
May they carry on forever.
But perhaps, yes, you should be the one to entice them more as we talk about the strength of returning of the Camarilla, but not perhaps the first thing they see this evening.
Sure. Well, there's the door. Let's knock and find out.
And Oscar, you can come along for, I don't know, wide-eyed innocence or something.
When you say there's the door, I was under the impression you hadn't left the car yet.
I thought we were walking over. I thought it'd make dramatic sense.
Oh, I thought we were still in the car as well.
Okay, fair enough. I was hoping just to move the scene forward a little bit.
No, that was fine. But that
was
also
my
means
plan.
I can't describe the location to you in any
That's
way.
okay.
So I think we'll say that you leave the car. You leave the car now and walk over to the street. The streets are quite empty. There's quite a harsh fog rising off the Thames tonight, and you're kind of not wading through it, right? But it's definitely like around waist level and getting higher, and you're making your way through the streets of Cold Harbour under cold sodium lights. As you emerge around onto the road where the address is, it's again, there's various boarded up houses, boarded up shops. On one side of the road is a house, a large house that seems to have been swathed in. The material they put over a place when it's being fumigated, right? One of those, and then opposite it is the address you were given. It used to be like a very small, old townhouse. Sorry, I wanted to say a small block of flats, but really it's like a townhouse that got converted into flats. You've all been to London. You've seen these houses everywhere down there, and but it's clearly been abandoned for quite some time, and it currently has no windows whatsoever, and it has police tape stretched across the door in a large cross, part of which is kind of dangling off to one side. The police tape looks fresh.
Lovely.
Delightful.
Possibly not even applied by the police.
Alex, if they can, would like to actively promote a premonition about the house and what they would encounter if they were to barge in, break through the police tape, whatever.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is a wee bit of a fudge, I guess. But I think if you're intent on that, you're probably not going to make this other roll I was going to ask you and Pierre to make. So instead, I'll just ask Pierre to make it. But make your premonition roll, please, Neill. And Pierre, it's time for you to roll out a discipline that you haven't used yet. Can you give me a Sense the Unseen roll, please?
Sure.
And it's at a difficulty of 5.
Okay.
So you know,
is wit
good luck.
Or specs, which is 4. So,
It's still technically possible because you could crit, and crits can explode if you roll multiple crits.
Indeed, I got 3 successes. So
Okay, yeah, that's clearly not enough. That's fine.
Alex,
You get an
received
odd
5
sense, but nothing specific. You just kind of, someone's walked over your grave, you know?
Sure.
Neill.
Alex received 5 successes with a messy critical.
Oh, yes. Okay. Would you object if I held said premonition in reserve just a moment?
Just a moment, sure. One can assume that Alex is concentrating.
Yeah, it will happen soon in this scene. Concentrating, but still kind of moving with the rest of you kind of towards the place. Don't worry. It will play in. It's just more dramatic if we do it this way.
Maybe you guys should think about. Maybe we should think about, pumping some blood up. In case we run into any mortals. You don't want a repeat of the previous exercise.
That's a good point.
And if you like, I could have a little scout around, sight unseen.
It's also a good idea. See if you can find a reason for this police tape that isn't just decoration.
Give it a bit of a recce.
Okay. So are the other three of you just hanging around outside this building while Mandrel goes in?
I'm hanging back, yeah.
Okay. Mandrel, describe to me how you are gaining entrance. I did say that the police tape was over the door. The door is also ajar.
Yeah, that was that. My point was, I'm pretty sure if there's police tape over the door, there's a reasonable chance the door is not closed or locked.
Correct.
And so that would.
The windows are also easily climbable through,
Yeah.
but it's up to you how you gain egress.
Well, the door is the portal of entry with the least potential for disaster, in my opinion. I've always thought that about doors.
yeah,
basically.
they're generally. I always like to enter a place through a door if a door is available.
Sure. So I would use unseen passage, as we've said, which requires a I don't think it requires a rouse check, which I fail, and then I am going to enter through the door, and I'm just going to I'm going to try and I'm also going to be like trying to be silent as well, but I'm happy as well to complement these things with stealth rolls if needs be, but I don't know if they necessarily will be.
Sure. No, I think that's fine. Why don't we make a roll? So you've I'm assuming unseen passage requires no roll. It's just unless you're causing some kind of ruckus, then people can't see you unless they have the supernatural means to do so.
Yeah, no overpowering odors, sounds, or sounds greater than a whisper,
Sure.
or anything else like that.
That's absolutely fine. Why don't you get, just so we know how generally stealthy you're being. If you are this is the thing. Are you just walking around quite casually, or are you also attempting to be stealthy even though you are not seen?
Mandrill has an almost natural reaction to entering somebody else's home to be stealthy, because it's something they do quite a bit.
Yes.
And that being the way that Mandrill feeds. So I guess I would be rolling a stealth roll as well, because I know that my obfuscate is not perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. In that case, can you give me speed isn't a factor, right? So give me a wits plus stealth roll.
Sure, it can't be Dex.
Yes.
2 successes.
Okay.
All hunger die though, so it's like.
Yeah, it's not against. You're not rolling against something particular. I just wanted to see how many successes you got, so that's fine. Okay, you enter the building. The interior here is a mess. It's clearly been not occupied by well-to-do mortals for quite some time, a number of years. There's furniture in here, but it's all it's partially wrecked and all over the place. It looks like there were maybe 2 or 3 kind of actual apartments in here, but certainly downstairs the apartment doors are again open. All the doors seem open. There's wreckage, there's graffiti on the walls, there's stains, and it's not a pleasant place. And now that you've kind of crept in through the door, the fog is kind of rolling in slightly behind you.
Are there like needles or anything like that around, like signs of human drug use?
There don't seem to be, no. And you can't. I guess you haven't made a dedicated check for it. You can't hear anything.
I'm planning on kind of moving through the house, and if there's nothing on the ground floor, maybe moving up to the top floor, or moving up the floors. I don't know how many floors are on the house.
There's probably 3 stories to this place, and you kind of creep up. Are you just kind of creep up the stairs to the top and then creep back down, that kind of thing?
Yeah, probably not going to. I mean, what I'm probably looking for is immediately seeing huge bloodstains on the floor for the corpse that was removed from this room, an hour ago by the police. That's kind of those are the main things I'm looking for.
Yeah, sure. You pass apartment, like the apartment doors, and everything's open. The only thing more of note is that the top floor apartment seems to be more wrecked than the ones below. Like there's still furniture in it, but it's all there's an old couch, there's a table. It's all wrecked, like someone's gone through the place with a sledgehammer or something. Without actually going in and fully investigating, you can't really know more than that,
But no, there's no like people. I didn't see anyone there or anything like that.
You cannot you've just peeked through doors, but from what you can see, you can't hear or see any presence of anything.
In which case, I probably would at some point lean out one of the windows and kind of make a signal to the group, and then probably start making my way down to the ground floor.
And thus dropping your obfuscate, correct?
Probably. Oh yeah, to signal. I probably would need.
Otherwise, they can't see you.
Like throw a rock at them. Or something. I probably would need to drop my obfuscate to do that.
That's fine.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing sinister about that.
So Mandrill, the 3 below, you see Mandrill lean out of the top floor window. It's like the window on the stairwell, right? There's a landing floor where there's a window out, and you can lean out of that. There's some shards of glass still in it, but you can easily avoid them and kind of wave down to them or hiss at them or whatever. I mean, in more of a way, not you're leaning out the window and going. Because that's probably not a good idea. The 3 downstairs, have you guys done anything in the intervening 5 minutes or so?
Well, I'm stuck in a premonition.
You are. You're still there, kind of like lost in a slight reverie.
I'll have a look round the side of the building. Just see if if there's any way of accessing that.
There is a side of the there
is it
is
like terraced?
one it's semi-detached, so one end of it is attached to what seems to be a boarded up shop, and the other side is literally the end of the street, so turning around into another street. So there doesn't seem to be anything particularly there. It looks like there's a backyard which is kind of fenced off with a low wire fence, and it just has like a scattering of bricks and a few tufts of grass, like nothing particular.
I can't see any signs of like people having walked like a certain path or anything, or like whether this is
I think that kind of highly detailed Aragorn tracking is slightly beyond Oscar Kane, so we'll go with no. There is no obvious sign of human passage or habitation. No.
Yep, sure.
I have a question. Is Alex premonitioning with their eyes open or closed?
I would say open, because they're actively looking at the building, at the doorway. The hope was to get a premonition before anyone stepped foot, but obviously the messiness of the situation prevented that from really working.
I am going to be like sort of not pacing, but trying to take in the street around us, particularly to see whether anyone is looking our way or leaning out a window, but also once I catch sight of Alex again trancing out a bit, if it looks similar to how they were at the nightclub, then I might be a bit...
I don't think it's that consistent. It's not like Alex is using their premonition power level 3, although in many ways that is exactly what's happening.
I just want to know how aware they are.
Alex is certainly aware of what's happening around them.
Okay.
And it's not like you can tell the usual kind of like spaced out attitude of Alex from the spaced out attitude of Alex while having a premonition. It's like, Alex is just doing an extra spaced out.
I'm just trying to see if I can recognize an LSD flashback. That's it.
Yeah. Well, if you're having a bit of a roam around and a look around, Arthur, why don't you give me a... You're taking your time with it. It's not instant. So give me a resolve plus awareness roll, please. Difficulty 4.
Awareness. Well, I'm rolling 4 dice, so that's going to be fun. Four dice. I get 0 successes.
Okay, but no bestial failure. So that's
No.
No, you're kind of out of it a bit. You're a bit kind of wondering. You've lost. You're not a patient man. I think it's safe to say.
I'm not patient. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
There's nothing good here.
No,
there's no one who can afford me.
No, exactly. This isn't your scene. So no, that's fine. You're just pacing and general irritation and impatience. Now that Mandrill has gestured, are the 3 others of you going to head on in?
Yeah, I'm going to duck inside and do a thorough look inside, see if I can see anything.
Probably not until the premonition hits, to be honest, because that was fine. I would then let's say that Alex will not voluntarily do that, but if they're kind of led gently in by someone, then that's what will happen.
Sure. Let's say Arthur kind of encourages you in because you're taking.
They'll let themselves be led.
Sure. Okay. So Mandrill's up on the top floor. So are you guys loitering around the bottom, or?
Yeah, I'm going to start having my own bit of a look round, I think.
Okay, are you having a more thorough look round, kind of looking around the actual apartment on the bottom floor, or?
I think what I was planning is like going around and looking from room to room. But I'm also going to take... I'm going to take one of the blood packs out of my jacket.
Okay.
And be holding it.
Okay, sure.
Because it's a weird thing to do if you're trying to threaten someone.
Sure.
Human.
Sure.
But yeah, then I'm...
the waiter.
Absolutely.
In walk the police.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. You seem to be holding blood.
it's fake blood.
Criminal offence.
Mandrill, are you heading back down to meet them on the bottom floor?
I think that was probably more of a kind of gamey response. I think reality, Mandrill probably would be, I'm investigating the upper floor. That makes
Sure.
more. That I thought I was so scared that I'd get jumped by like a storm of werewolves that I thought I was like, get to the group. But I think actually Mandrill would wander around.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Oscar, you said you were looking around. So is it safe to say that Arthur and Oscar are investigating this bottom floor apartment?
Actually,
Alex
I think
is kind of in a reverie in the hallway.
I think if Arthur's investigating this, I'll go to the second floor. I'll have a look around. No point double covering.
Okay.
From my perspective.
As you kind of go upstairs to the second floor, you kind of nudge Alex a little bit, and Alex kind of sits down on the stairs with a somewhat blank expression, and you kind of don't think anything really of it.
No.
You've met Alex enough to know that they're a bit odd, and you take a couple of paces up the stairs, and behind you, Alex starts screaming at the top of their lungs.
Cool.
Alex, you are in a darkened tower. At the very top of it, and kind of gazing all around you, you can see friends, lovers from your past. They're all on fire, and the flames are rising up the tower closer to you.
I will. Is there a way to climb up?
Yeah, you can try. You're not quite at the very top of the tower, so you could still try and climb up further. Yeah.
Do I have anything to pat down my nearby acquaintances with, or are they quite definitely
No,
on
they're
fire?
gone. No, they're dying.
At great speed.
Okay. Oscar, you are shoved out of the way as Alex races up the stairs. Obviously, everyone else has heard Alex start screaming.
Okay, I try and chase after Alex.
What the bloody hell?
Mandrill, you've taken a couple of paces into that top floor apartment, and all of a sudden you can hear like someone thundering up the stairs, screaming at the top of their lungs. It's fair to say that given you were alarmed before, or on tenterhooks before, you're a little bit jumpy at this. Neill.
I would say that Alex would have had Silence of Death activated beforehand. So aside from this, so there may have been no sound as they went into the building, and then all of a sudden an awful lot as the screaming started.
I mean, there was a bit of noise from Arthur and Oscar anyway. So, but yes.
I think Mandrill's immediate reaction would be to rush to the upper banister and look down.
Okay.
But if someone is screaming and running up the stairs, they probably wouldn't rush to that noise.
Sure. Well, you can see that it's Alex, and Alex is rapidly approaching where you are.
Okay. Are you ready to kind of catch Alex as they rush past?
Alex isn't particularly interested in being caught, so why don't you make me an opposed strength plus athletics roll, please?
Is Alex cognizant that something is trying to attempt them? Like in the vision, is there a great beast in their way, or is it just?
Whoa.
No, I don't think it's that kind of. You're not that aware. You're just having this kind of waking dream, essentially. So, not really. No.
Sure. So you say strength plus athletics?
Yeah, opposed strength plus athletics rolls, please. We'll just see who comes out on top.
5 successes.
It won't be me. 3 successes. That's quite good, actually.
That's pretty good. I feel that, you know.
Yeah, Mandrill as Alex rushed upstairs. I don't know if some potence would have been involved in some of that.
No, I haven't. No, I've chosen.
I know it works differently nowadays. As Alex rushes upstairs, you literally just not tackle Alex, but just grab onto them, and like you've got your arms around them, and they're not getting any further. Alex is kind of straining and reaching out over your shoulder, and you can now that you're close enough, Alex kind of has stopped that kind of siren wail of screaming and is just panting over and over. They died here. They died here. They died here. Alex, you are out of it.
That was most bracing. Mandrill, please could you release me?
Of course, Alex. And then let's go of you. Everything's all right.
I think Mandrill may be revising her opinions of Alex's clan at this point.
Did Alex know that they were saying they died here, or was
No.
it literally a vision?
No.
Okay.
No, they understand. In the vision, your friends, died here. But instead of the
Sure.
house, it was a dark tower. Now you're out of it, you come to understand that death happened at the top of this tower. But while you were in it, you weren't capable of putting those things together.
Sure.
Who died here, Alex? What are you talking about?
Everyone died here, of course, Mandrill.
Oscar and Arthur, have you followed up the stairs?
I was chasing
Sure.
Alex.
I think I followed up the stairs until it became apparent that no one was being murdered imminently, and then I'm running to the nearest window to make sure no one is running towards the building, having heard the screaming.
Sure.
I mean,
Alex.
it's that kind of neighborhood. Like, I don't know.
True.
What was that?
Oh, it was an uncomfortable sensation.
You seemed a little more than uncomfortable.
I have experienced far worse, young one, as I am sure you too will come to in the nights ahead. It is never an easy thing to slay the bull.
Arthur.
Yes.
Down the street, someone has gotten out of a car and is dashing in a controlled but very speedy way towards the building. Can you give me a wits plus awareness roll, please? Difficulty 2.
Wits plus awareness.
The eternal roll.
Oh,
I'm interested.
no. I think that might be a bestial failure.
No willpower?
You can spend willpower.
That is very true. I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that.
Whilst this is happening, are there any obvious fire stains or scorch marks anywhere, by the way?
Well,
Reality.
you're not in the apartment yet.
Okay.
So ask me again when you're in there. Did you get 2 successes there? It's the woman you saw in Down Street last week talking to Wynne.
Oh.
Who, if we need a reminder, please, Steve, do not flash up her image just yet. We do have an image for her, but not just yet, please. She has kind of sort of taut Nordic features, you know, the kind of northeastern European feature, someone who's maybe Finnish or Swedish would have, with sort of tightly drawn back dark hair, very close fitting white shirt with the collar sort of half popped up, and long sort of tight fit black. It's unclear whether they're leggings or kind of some kind of very, you know, slim fit jeans or trousers of some kind. It looks like it's a good costume to run in, because she is making quite a pace towards the building.
Did we come to a conclusion about whether she was kindred?
You came to no conclusion about whether she was kindred.
Right.
I don't think.
Friends with Wynne.
Yes.
Or certainly seemed cordial with Wynne, yeah.
A friend of Wynne is a possible enemy or friend of ours. So I was just over here looking through these apartments. Should we have a look?
Guys.
You said you weren't going upstairs, so I think you're still on the bottom floor. So therefore, I think if you want to get their attention, you're going to have to yell. And in the meantime, I think it's fair to say that while you're looking out the window, Mandrill and Alex have gone into the top floor apartment. And Oscar has probably bounded up to the top floor himself.
Yeah.
I think Oscar was bounding up, yeah.
Okay. Alex, you are the one who. Why don't you? Yeah, both Justin and Neill give me wits plus awareness rolls, please. Or is there such a thing as investigation in this? Yep. There is. Give me wits plus investigation rolls, please. And yes, Neill.
Would heightened senses help with this, or is it not?
I don't think heightened. No, it doesn't help you see where it's dark, does it? Because that's the purview of Gleam of Red Eye.
It does, but given them the ability to see in pitch darkness. So not supernatural darkness, but normal.
Okay.
darkness.
Take an extra die for that, and you know what? Take an extra die as well from that you said you were looking for scorch marks.
I rolled 1 success.
Sure. The only real conclusion you come to, Mandrill, is that your initial suspicions that there was more wreckage in here are definitely valid, to the point where you think it's happened recently, like, because that you know, when you know, if you've broken wood, like the core of the wood, right, is lighter and fresher looking, and if time passes, it just looks like the rest of the wood. It's like that. That's my explanation of wood.
Okay, sure.
9 successes.
Best roll I'll ever make for something so worthwhile.
Mandrill's response is basically, "This is a shithole."
Sure.
At which point,
So
Alex has seen everything.
Let's go halfway through Alex's revelations about this place. Then we'll go back downstairs to Arthur, and then we'll do the rest of Alex's revelations about this place. And we'll also find time in that to find out what Oscar is doing.
I just want to say, you've got the same look on your face that you had when Elle beheaded the boss in
No,
one go
no,
on
not
Syndrome.
at all. No,
Okay.
That's absolutely fine. That just saves us time. It's fine.
Fine.
So, yeah, Alex basically walks through the kind of living room that opens out into where all this wreckage is around, into one of the side rooms. And Alex, basically, it's where you thought it was. It's where it was in your in your vision that you had. Over in the corner of one of these rooms, there is a large blackened stain on one of the back corners, like a large one. You know, now you think about it, it almost looks like maybe a body or a human-sized blackened mark against one of these back corners, and all the way up it in the corner is kind of, you know, soot and smoke marks. This is definitely where one of them was burned.
Well, I can't see anything over here.
Seems like there was some kind of ruckus. Oscar, what are you doing while these two are carrying out their investigation?
So if I'm just getting into the room now, I think I'll just also, you know, look in a corner of the room that they haven't, see if I can see anything.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a wits plus investigation roll, but hold on to the result for a second. Alex, you were going to ask something.
No, I was just going to share my discovery, but I'll wait till Oscar's done their thing first.
Sure, fine.
8 successes.
Wait, for what?
What the hell?
Oscar, high five, Oscar.
Yes. Cam 5. Okay. Before we reveal the results of that, shall we head back downstairs to Arthur, who's not rolling great handfuls of successful dice? But a 9 and then an 8. That's ludicrous and amazing. So, Arthur, the woman is probably getting quite close to the door.
Is there anything around that I can knock over to make a loud noise to alert the people upstairs?
Yes, although
Side table or something.
You could also just shout.
Could.
But by all means, if you prefer to knock something over, then that can absolutely be done.
It appeals to my cat-like impulses. No, I'm just gonna... I'm gonna give like a shout or whistle to upstairs.
Okay.
And then just like stand in the entry hall and wait for her, I guess, because she can't be an enemy. She's a friend of Wynn's.
Sure. You hear, the three above, you don't hear it terribly well to really hear what, because you're just giving a kind of, hey, right? Because you didn't say you were saying anything particular.
No.
So you hear Arthur call out from downstairs. Arthur, the woman comes to a stop in front of you, in front of the police tape. I'm assuming the police tape is no longer there because everyone came through that door.
I mean, I ducked under it, but yeah.
I also ducked under it.
It depends if Alex was ducked under it while he led.
I think Alex probably walked straight through it, so I think it's just kind of gently drifting in the wind and the fog. Yes, the mysterious woman comes to a halt and kind of turns, looks at you, and says, "This is not stealthy."
We were trying.
She kind of just looks all around where you are and says, "Was that your lunatic?"
Of course.
Right. She turns and stares very intently at the house opposite, the one with the fumigation shroud over it.
Problems?
Maybe. Too late now. Let's go inside. No, thank you, Steve. Sorry, Steve was asking if I want a picture of her. No, not just yet. Thank you.
I step aside to let her in.
She says, "Top floor," and just walks upstairs. Upstairs, Oscar. Alex knew where to look for it, but Oscar found it. I say Oscar found it by himself first, and then Alex kind of walks through. Alex, you've basically walked out of that room and gone in there, and now walking into another room where there are again very different kinds of scorch marks all over the wall, and kind of odd pitting marks, kind of all over one wall. Oscar, you got there first. Are you going to take? They're the thing that strikes you most. Are you going to take a closer look at them?
Yeah, are these bullet holes or?
Well, why don't you give me? Why don't you give me a intelligence plus your choice of firearms or science roll.
Okay. I have neither of those, I believe. So, yes. So it's just intelligence. All right, 4 dice.
Alex, you can make the same roll.
2 successes.
Okay. In some ways, I'd rather not, but I will. Okay.
No, you mean you don't have to if you don't want to.
Was the difficulty higher than 2?
It was a kind of scaled difficulty.
Okay, sure.
I think 2 will give you enough knowledge that yes, you think this looks like a firearm went off in here several times.
Alex would just be rolling 2 hunger dice, so Alex would rather not if they can avoid rolling.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Landrel, you are now well aware that Alex seems to have some kind of preternatural sense of what's happened in here, and Oscar also seems to have found something. So you are aware of what they're looking at now. You can also, because you're in the front room still at the moment, you can also hear 2 sets of footsteps coming up the stairs.
Then I might indeed
kind of together like a pace.
Are you sure I can? Because one awareness versus 9 awareness.
I think that's fine, Alex.
Granted, I was looking about investigating, but was I able to hear any of what the disparaging comments made about me with heightened senses?
No. She was speaking very low, 3 floors away, and you're in a kind of reverie. I don't think so. No.
There are 2 footsteps coming up the stairs, and then I probably move to take position behind the door, ready to clobber.
Okay. Do Alex and Oscar react to this in any way?
I try and get out of line of sight of the stairwell.
Okay. I mean, in the room you are in already, you are out of sight of the stairwell. So.
Okay.
Alex, any reaction?
Not particularly. I assume, by the way, that there was no other things that Alex discovered from the investigation roll earlier.
There may be.
Okay.
I'm trying not to let everything play out at once.
The reason I ask is because if so, Alex is probably still investigating. If they're out of
line
of
sight,
sight,
I think that's fine. You just walk casually out of the room and into the next point of investigation.
No, not casually. serenely.
Serenely. Sure.
Serenely.
Arthur, are you doing anything as you come up the stairs? Because she's just walking straight up.
As we reach towards the top of the stairs, I'm going to clear my throat in a recognizable way.
I don't understand what that code means. I'm still ready to clobber.
No, I don't know. Whatever.
I think if I hear Arthur, then I resume my investigation and start trying to dig out like one of the bullets from the wall if I think it's a bullet.
I'm amazed about the lack of on edge that my colleagues seem to have.
Hey, it's Arthur. He's fine.
I mean, that was clearly Arthur's voice.
Yeah, but he could be being coerced. He could be being dominated.
I'm not worried about that.
Like I didn't realize someone else was in the building with us. There are 2 footsteps. I'm ready to clobber.
No, it's fine. Just if they understand, they just don't care.
I know. I'm sure it's upset.
She walks through the door.
Well, I'm behind the door.
Okay,
like a monster.
Yeah. Oh.
But my thing is, are you, like, when you said ready to clobber, did you mean whatever comes through that door you're going to hit, or are you at least pausing a second?
I think I would be pausing a second and probably even using Sense the Beast, but we don't need to roleplay that if it's not going to be.
Yeah, let's not default it as like every time you encounter someone you use that power.
But in this specific situation, I'm probably would
sure.
use it.
No, I think that's fair. Well, if you did use Sense the Beast, I think it's appropriate to roll for it if you want to roll for it.
Well, then I'm happy to. I will just do that. So 3 successes.
Okay, there is certainly aggression here, but it's not pointing at you.
Okay.
As I go through the doorway behind her, if Mandrill is still there in scary monster mode, I'm just going to look at her and say, really?
Well, let's give her a chance to react first to this stuff happening, guys. Because she's just going to stop in the doorway and kind of glances over at you, Mandrill, and then glances at Alex, kind of serenely floating from one room to the next, and says, "What have you found?"
There were several kindred burnt here. They were refugees from the north of England. They encountered difficulties with at least one other kindred in the city before having to flee to this place. It looks like they were found by hunters, possibly the ones we encountered in the Abbey. There is so much more I can discover.
Looks like there was some firearms fire over here in the wall. So maybe there was some sort of fight here.
She, at this point, kind of strides forward and peers kind of into the room where Oscar is and kind of takes a look at the wall. Arthur, you were going to do or say something?
Go in through the doorway, and if Mandrill is standing there, just give her a look.
Well, you'll be happy when I save your life. Unlife. Shut up.
The woman walks into the room where you are, Oscar, and she doesn't even glance at you, doesn't even really seem to register you, and walks slightly up to the wall, and then almost oddly kind of just leans her entire upper body forward and phosphor. She turns on her heel and walks out of the room.
Phosphor? What's do I have any inkling into the significance of that?
You can give yourself an intelligence plus science roll.
Okay, it's not an occult thing.
No.
Cool. I'll try. 2 successes.
2 successes. Phosphor burns.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly how much you, as individuals have encountered kind of people intentionally killing vampires in some way, but in an out of character way, obviously phosphor rounds are set fire to things, so would be a frequently used tool.
So I should say they're part of pop culture to the point that we know
Yeah,
about
sure.
it anyway.
Yeah, you've seen Blade, right?
Totes.
Yeah. So, Alex, you have moved through to like the final bedroom of the apartment, and you kind of again float through serenely. You float past the point where they staked and burnt the other one. There's no significant marks on the wall or the floor, but you can definitely tell from that was where they did it in your dream. So clearly that's where it happened. And you float over to a big set, like a chest of drawers on the wall, and open the middle drawer. Yeah, the bowl's there. The one coated in crusted blood.
Take it out and make sure it's as it should be.
Yep, it's all there. This is the most important thing to recover, obviously. So it's all fine, and you're pretty satisfied with the results of that. And with that, we can safely assume you've moved beyond whatever state you're in and are now more fully with it. You're not entirely sure what this thing is, if you're honest, but it seemed important a moment ago.
I think we are finished here. I think this is everything we need. Shall we return home? I'll say this to almost no one, I presume, following me into this room.
I don't think anyone's followed you into that room yet, because Oscar is still in the room with the woman. Mandrel and Arthur are still in the entrance room. Yeah.
I'll wander out to say, we have everything we need. I suggest that we return home and consider the events of the evening. Or just start walking down the stairs.
I will put a hand out to catch Alex and say, we might be being watched, and throw a glance at the woman wherever she is.
Oh, I am sure that if the others were killed here, we have definitely been spotted.
Oh, fantastic.
She strides out of the room where Oscar was and says, yes, the house opposite. At least one.
Fortunately, they were not able to obtain this, so we are quite safe.
She kind of, as she looks at what you're holding, she kind of, she glances with, you get the sense she didn't expect it. You're a Malkavian who's retrieved the important thing from the apartment. She doesn't have any grand expectations. And you see her. Where did you get that?
Oh, the previous occupants left it behind before they perished.
Give it was now.
Well, as long as it does not come to any further damage.
By the way, its appearance, just so we know, I said it was crusted with blood. It's like a punch bowl, like a cheap-looking punch bowl, made of. It might be glass or it might be plastic. You're not sure.
Please be careful. It has survived so much.
She takes it off you. Can you all remind me when your characters were embraced again? Obviously, I know Oscar's was like 2 nights ago. But can you all remind me of the year of your embrace again?
2013.
2010, 2011.
1999.
Okay. Mandrel, could you give me a wits plus occult roll, please?
Does it in any way relate to a Gehenna, out of interest?
No.
1 success.
You can't actually remember why this should unnerve you, and it's not like a supernatural sense or an Alex style premonition. There's something about big bowls of blood.
Yeah,
that
no,
someone told you.
Yeah,
one.
something.
What could it be?
Something.
We have some vampire veterans here. They've already reached the conclusion as players. But there's something about big bowls of blood. Someone once told you, and you're not
I remember
sure what
hearing
it
a
is, but you think it
story
might
in
be
a tunnel
significant.
once.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody told me something. They said beware. Something beware.
Yeah. So the woman takes it off you, and she's holding it quite very respectfully with the tips of her fingers. And she brings it up. Voldery. None of you have any idea what that word means.
Gesundheit?
Are we going to go and deal with next door, or are we leaving?
She glances over at Oscar and says, "You. This one is a warlock, yes?"
He thinks he is.
I'm from
He's a
Clan
baby,
Tremere.
but
Some of this seems recent. Tell me how many of them. She passes you the bowl. I believe you have already used a taste of blood, so
Yes.
maybe you reach the conclusion of what she wants you to do, but you're not entirely sure.
Yeah.
You're also, even if you are, you're definitely not sure how well it'll work on fairly crusted. Now you're actually looking at it. It looks like some of it is literally kind of, you'd suspect, used in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. It's not all there for years or whatever.
Yeah. Just as a...
Does anyone have any insight on whether a taste of blood would work on that? She thinks it will, but that doesn't mean it will. Does it say how long, how fresh it has to be?
A drop of blood, it's just I dab the blood on my tongue, so I suppose.
Okay. Well, I think if you wanted to, you could have a good lick of this mostly crusted, scabby mess on this this glass bowl, and we can make a roll.
I think that my first instinct is like the bowl itself doesn't seem special at all to me, given that I'm an antiquarian. It's not like a magical.
No,
bowl.
it's definitely like if you turn it, you can see a serial number on it.
Sure,
like
so
it's just been bought from a wherever. Neill.
As soon as it gets handed to you, I'll actually say, "Please be very careful."
Okay, and then I dip my finger in the blood, and in a bit of the wet blood, and I try and taste it.
Sure.
And so that is.
Yeah, give me. It's not a general difficulty, is it? Taste of blood. It's more kind of like.
It's a resolve plus blood sorcery difficulty.
Oh, it is difficulty 3. Okay, I'm going to ramp that up to 5.
Okay, so I am rolling 6 dice, and we will see. It is 5 successes on the dot.
Good Lord. I'm not going to give you too much information about the people who've put their blood in this vessel. Mm-hmm. All I'll give you, the one bit of information I'll give you, is the information she asked for, because it is the easiest thing for you to know. Mm-hmm. And the question she asked was, how many of them? 4 people shared their blood in this vessel.
4 people or 4 kindred?
4 kindred.
Sure.
Did we find? Did Alex find 3 corpses or 4?
3.
Yeah. The only other thing is, according to the rules, is I could maybe know the blood potency of these.
No chance. It's crusted. Like the fact that you even detected the different nuances of 4 different strains of blood is a borderline miracle.
Yeah.
The condition of this.
It seems like this is 4 of us. No, I mean 4 kindred.
Wow.
She looks over at Alex and says, "How many?"
So 1 remains. Marvelous. There is someone else we can talk to about what happened.
1 remains?
Oh yes, there were only 3 that died here. We should probably leave.
I'm going to slap Oscar on the back and say, "Kid's got talent."
I carefully hold onto the bowl.
He takes it from you and hands it back to Alex.
Alex will gesture with the hand not holding the ball down the stairs, and then start heading that way.
Okay. I'll follow.
So Alex and Oscar are leaving.
Yeah, I'm going with them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Alex is certainly going downstairs. Maybe not leaving the house right immediately, but certainly getting ready to.
The woman says, "Are we not going to look for the survivor?"
Oh yes. Do you think they are still upstairs?
She shrugs imperceptibly.
Did we not explore? Oh, sorry, I thought that we had explored all the rooms as part of upstairs.
You have. Yes, you have. All the rooms in the apartment. Yep.
Okay.
Is there an attic space? Is this the top living space?
No, there doesn't seem to be if you scan all the ceilings.
I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but you seem to be suggesting that there's someone here, but we've looked around pretty thoroughly.
She is kind of scanning in all the corners and like behind any remaining furniture, and says, "You can call me Aurora."
Ah, nice to meet you, Aurora. My name's Oscar.
I know. She kind of crouches down on the floor and starts looking in all the corners, under every kind of piece of furniture, and finally examines the gaps in the floorboard.
Can we help you with something?
She lays kind of one hand flat on the wooden floorboards and tilts her head up slightly. And who is actually examining this going on? Alex, I think you've basically walked downstairs, right, to wait for the others, or?
I've certainly. Well, if they indicated that, if she has kept on hunting for the remainder, I probably would have stayed at the top of the stairs, waiting expectantly.
Sure. Oscar, and you were kind of hovering around the door, maybe, because your urge was to leave
and I
with
was
Alex.
chatting to her and
Okay.
being like, okay.
Mandrill, Arthur?
I'm staying with her because I haven't had a chance to look around the apartment yet, so...
So you're having a poke around.
Mandrill's aware that they're shit, like absolute crap at spotting things.
Sure.
They're like, yeah.
Well then, if you're looking around, Arthur, so Mandrill, it sounds like you're maybe the closest to her and may have time enough to notice these things through the light that's because it's very brightly lit, kind of moonlight tonight, and from the light cast over her face from the moon, you see an odd flicker of darkness across her eyes, and she smiles ever so slightly and says, "She is beneath the floors." You hear a somewhere underneath the floorboards.
Do you want any help lifting those things?
I think she can come out by herself, don't you? There's like a kind of cracking, creaking noise near the corner of the room. And what was clearly some kind of concealed, sort of easily removable chunk of floorboard moves to one side, and a young woman who's covered in dust and cobwebs climbs out from the corner of the room. She appears to be a young black woman with sort of tightly curled hair, wearing just a very unremarkable t-shirt and blue jeans.
Oh, Hello.
Very good hiding spot you've got there.
I'm surprised I didn't see it. Hidden compartments are usually my thing.
Mandrill, you can give me an intelligence plus occult roll if you want. Difficulty 3, let's say. Sorry, I talked over things there because I was trying to work out a roll in my head. Sorry, what did Arthur and Oscar say?
I just said hello.
Okay. The young woman kind of looks warily around and says, I mean, I'm guessing you're not with them then.
Nope.
No, we're
Alex-
good people.
Alex will float calmly back in the room.
2 successes, by the way.
Okay. Again, there's something about that sounds familiar to you, but you can't put your finger on it. Specifically, the darkness in Aurora's eyes.
Sure. We actually came here from Jack. He said that you guys were having trouble finding your feet.
Yeah, you could say that.
I look around, having been briefed of what's happened in this room. Maybe you'd like somewhere a bit safer to lay your head during the day.
Who are you with?
The Camrilla.
Any port in a storm, right?
Sometimes it feels that way.
Okay. She clambers out of the floor and kind of dusts herself off a bit more. Aurora nods and says, well, I think it's safe to say we've all been made.
Although,
Is it worth asking what you all think should be done about this?
I think it's safe to say that we've all been made, but if... I'm sorry that presumably your friends are dead, but if you're not dead, then that means that they presumably don't know about you. So it might still be worth having some discretion about how we get out of here. Is there a way out? Is there a path out of here that's not the front door?
The young woman kind of shakes her head and says, I told them it was a really dumb place to sleep.
Why did you think that?
No back exit. We just got trapped up here like rats. She glances over at Mandrill and says, no offense.
What can you tell us about those who did this so that we can escape quickly without danger?
You're a professional. They were armed up. I mean, you know who they were.
Did you
Right?
see any...
Yeah.
The Inquisition?
Yeah.
Did you see any of their faces? I'm sorry, I realize this must be quite traumatic for you, but...
No, they were wearing masks. I didn't exactly get a good look as I scrambled in there anyway.
Were they like, like might make the nose shape for the masquerade masks kind of things? Were they like? I'm asking you, were they like the masquerade mask that we saw at the Abbey? So did they have a big nose or something? I basically asked if they, those kind, right?
No, they were. What? No, they were wearing like tactical masks.
I don't know what these humans do to get off.
Just to make it clear, Justin, you know that mask you picked up wasn't a clue. It was just a random thing.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know. I know it now. But like,
I just don't want it to be the chicken in the cage. That's all.
No, sure.
Do we have any? I know that Mandrill, you have an ability to remain unseen. Do you have? Can you share that with someone?
An ability to remain unseen. But yeah, people have trouble seeing me sometimes. But no, I can't. It only works for me. It's only on me.
Alex, are you still stood outside?
I'm stood on the landing. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay. Arthur, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, can I have a look out of a window to check on the house across the street and see if there's any kind of movement from there?
You can, and I'm not going to make you roll. There's no point. You literally can't see anything. It's just, a big fumigation sheet over it.
That's fine.
I have no idea.
As long as you don't have a platoon of Second Inquisition advancing towards the front door.
Like that. No.
Well, we have to leave some time. Okay. Maybe the simplest thing is just out the back or front door, over some fences, and away.
Speed would certainly be the best choice right now.
Okay.
Even although we may need to deal with the person across the street, if that is what Aurora thinks is sensible. Aurora seems to have been here longer than we have.
I followed you here.
A pity. Then we should leave quite quickly, because if they have spotted us, I am sure that others are on their way as we speak.
The young woman who came up out of the floor has taken like a couple of paces forward, and as Alex has started speaking, she kind of comes to a halt and stares at Alex, stares down at the bowl, and bolts past. Kind of there's no one kind of between her and Oscar and Alex at the kind of on the landing. Oscar and Alex, are you going to attempt any kind of impediment to this?
I think I'll briefly try and like grab her in classic Oscar fashion.
Sure.
In the stairwells.
Alex, are you going to do anything? Like, it's a perfectly legit reaction to feel that your characters would be caught off guard by this.
I mean, I think I would be. I think I am caught off guard by this, but I am. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Whoa.
Alex is right on the top of the stairs, so I imagine Alex will resist when someone comes charging at them.
She's not charging at you. She's trying to get past you.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I imagine it's not. So yeah,
Are
Alex
you still holding the bowl?
With what? Yes, with both hands. So I'll probably try and just kind of body check while cradling this.
Yeah. Well, Oscar, if you're going to make a kind of fumbled grab at her, I think that's fine. Give me a strength plus brawl roll, maybe with a -2 from what you described as kind of a kind of.
So I'm rolling 2 dice.
She knows exactly what she's doing. Sorry.
I'm rolling 2 dice, and I got.
Okay,
2
well, you need 3.
Good.
So do you want to just not roll?
Yeah. I think
that's fine. Sure. Let's say you just kind of sort of reach out, but don't make the grasp. Alex, you will also need 3. I'm gonna, if you're body checking, I'd say again that's like a dexterity plus brawl, I'd say, and I'd say for holding the bowl and trying not to drop it and everything, I'd say you also probably have a -2 on that.
Alex cannot succeed either.
That's fine. She dashes past the pair of you and is bolting full down the stairs. Aurora, there's like a split second, and Aurora goes straight after her as well. What's everyone else doing?
I mean, personally, Mandrill thinks that people can make their own choices in life, and if that includes bolting away from...
Sure, that's fine.
But, so I mean, I don't think... Mandrill will probably follow, but isn't making any rush to try and catch this person.
Sure.
We should leave anyway.
I pick myself up off the floor. having slipped over. Yeah, I think so.
So are you all kind of exiting quite fast, but not necessarily like Aurora is trying to directly run after the woman who's bolted?
I think I'm going to run after them.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Give me a dexterity plus athletics roll, please. I get no. Kind of a target. Let's call the target to actually catch up with them is probably 4, but like you won't fail if you see what I mean. We'll just, if you get less than that, we'll just call your progress as.
Well, I'm only rolling 3 dice, so maybe Arthur doesn't do that.
I mean, you can roll it. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't roll. It's just,
I'm rolling. He's going to try. It's not what he's good at, but... One success.
Okay. You definitely make it downstairs before everyone else does. Well, not Aurora and the mysterious woman, but Aurora's a mysterious woman as well, but she's got a name now. Yeah, you emerge onto the street before everyone else. The woman is like receding into the distance down the street, and Aurora is not far after her. Ahead of you, you can see a man walking out of the front of the fumigation tent. He is quite calmly walking over to a nearby car and putting a key into it. He glances over at you and leans over. He's got kind of a walkie-talkie mounted on the front of a jacket. He looks like he looks like a fumigation. He hasn't got the full hood or anything, but he's wearing, just a jacket with the name of the name of the company on the side of it. Walkie-talkie there. Very, very, sort of generic-looking white dude in his early middle age with just a pair of glasses and sort of a nice haircut. And he kind of leans over to his walkie-talkie and says, 2 Bravo 6. He doesn't seem concerned. And he's unlocking his car and getting into it.
Of course he doesn't. How far is everyone else behind me?
They're just walking down the stairs at normal speed, right? They're probably just on the stairs between the 3rd and the 2nd floor.
Is Aurora's car right outside, or?
No, it's down the street. It's kind of where they're running towards, honestly.
I think, are we now bumping into the back of Arthur as he
you're coming down the stairs.
I think I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to nonchalantly walk in the direction of the chase.
Okay. You take a step kind of forward out of the front of the door, and as you do, a kind of odd form blurs and shifts a few paces ahead of you in the street. And the man who's just kind of crouching over to get into his car suddenly rears backwards with a choking cry. There is a large knife embedded in his throat, and he's kind of staggering backwards against the wall, blood spraying out in the moonlight, going... Jack is standing in the middle of the road.
Nice.
He wheels around to look at you and says, "What the fuck have you brought here?"
We didn't bring this here.
I assume that we're walking, kind of arriving into this.
Yeah, you've kind of walked up and seen this.
I suggest that we continue to speed away.
Scampers over to the body, because he is dead now, pulls his knife out, briefly pats the guy down, retrieves a handgun from somewhere in his belt, tucks it into the back of his, and dashes over to you and says, "Tell me you've got transport."
We've got a car. Follow me.
He goes, "Oh no, I don't need it, but you need to get out of here as quickly as possible."
Don't need to be told twice.
Already.
Where in Mayfair is your haven? It occurs to you that you have no idea how he knows your haven is in Mayfair.
That might be best kept on a need-to-know basis.
For fuck's sake, where is it? You don't
You can
understand. This isn't a normal cameraless city. This is a war zone, and you've just escalated it. Do you know what that bowl was? Do you know who she is?
No,
You can find.
obviously,
You can find
otherwise we
us.
wouldn't be standing in the middle of the street.
Look, you can
Shall
find us
we
in the
move?
You can find us in the underground tunnels around Mayfair, and we need to go. And at that point, I will start grabbing people who are not currently moving towards a vehicle.
He nods and says, right, well, I'll see you there soon. And do me a favor so I don't have to explain absolutely everything to you. When you get back, you ask your elders what Sabbat means. And he wheels on his heel and literally, Mandrel, you've barely ever seen this. He disappears in front of your eyes.
Oh.
And I think we'll end it there. A little bit early, but that seems like a nice cliffhanger for the evening, especially for anyone who knows even the slightest amount about Vampire before V5. So yeah, there we go. Exciting developments.
Oh man, everyone seems to be in my position now. Not knowing what the hell's going on.
So, thanks for watching, everyone. Everyone
Cheers,
out in
guys.
chat. Hopefully you had fun with that. We've got a fair few people watching through the evening, which is very satisfying. As I usually do, I'll give out some of our plugs. If you've got any comments or questions, please do fling them out in chat, and Steve will pick them up and pop them up here for us to respond to. I'm happy to answer certain questions about character backgrounds and stuff like that, but not others. Be sensible. If you think there's things that the players may have come to the conclusion to but the characters haven't, ask away with those. But if there's leaps you've come to because you've read every single book in the old White Wolf library, then maybe don't flag those things up. But in the meanwhile, all of our plugs for our links are down below in the description, whether you're watching this on Twitch or on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, if you are live with us, then our VODs are over there. You can catch up via those. We've got another series that happens on Wednesday evenings, 8 o'clock GMT. We're playing Symbaroum, the dark fantasy RPG from Free League, and very good it is too. We've got a Patreon. Go check us out on that. There's actually some stuff going up for the Patreon this week that's vampire related. That should be the first episode of our character creation is going up there. And you know what? There's also there'll be a little bit of a preview as well going up for something else I'm doing vampire related this week. Which you won't need to be a patron to get access to. If you follow us on social media, you'll see it. But maybe patrons will get access to it a little bit. We will see.
How lucky for them.
How lucky. So yeah, with that in mind, if anyone has any comments or questions, bang them over to Steve. Otherwise, we'll just natter here for a few minutes and see if anything comes up. So how did people like that? Like that? That's good. That's good.
That was good. I'm glad that we decided to come and visit.
You're quite welcome. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Basiliosh.
Yeah, that's one of our Star Wars friends.
Oh, hello, Star Wars friend.
Hey, Max.
Also, thank you to Vancouver by Night for following us, and I believe also adding us to some kind of list. Hopefully, not a government
list of streams.
Excellent. And also, you know what? They might even be watching this. But I forgot last week. Someone followed us during Symbaroum, and I'll give a shout out to them on the off chance. Leander of Imoz. That's how I'm choosing to pronounce that. Yes, thank you, Vancouver by Night.
So yeah, I think it went quite well. I mean, it was very spooky. I don't know how the viewers felt, but I felt like that I was sufficiently spooked.
Sufficiently spooked. Cool. Yeah, like I am very aware that there'll be a gap both within the players and within the audience of like stuff I'm dropping that's like linked to. I don't think we've done anything that's really deep Vampire the Masquerade lore, but there's certainly things that like a new player like Pierre or someone who's maybe only read V5 or is only kind of roughly familiar with V5 certainly would have been there's elements of what's been going on where they'd be like, Voldery, what the hell? Because obviously quite a bit of the stuff from V2 has not necessarily been stripped out of V5, but certainly pulled back and maybe reserved for future source books. So yeah, but hopefully it wasn't too. There wasn't anything too obtuse for you, and it feels like a nice little mystery for the characters, even if maybe not for some of the players.
Viewers at home have got to be excited by a mysterious punch bowl full of blood. Like that's got vampire weirdness all over it. Like
it does. It definitely
There's just something I find so amusing about like a Voldery vessel that is just like a cheap,
so tacky,
crappy, possibly glittery plastic punch bowl from Poundland.
Also, given the time of year it's been bought, probably has bats on it because it's Halloween themed. Like it's probably orange. Sure. Like it's probably.
I'm really interested to what Neill specifically makes all this, because Neill is in this little group of 5 people. I think it's fair to say that Neill is the biggest vampire nerd, and I come in just behind him. So I'm definitely interested in how he feels about me shoving all this stuff into V5.
I think it's perfectly normal. I think what my thought is wondering why they're here rather than busy waking elders, unless of course they're busily fighting elders here, which is far more terrifying. But of course there might be an elder in London. Who knows?
Yes.
Who knows?
What even is an elder? Who can say?
It's certainly not Oscar Kane.
What's a vampire? What's blood?
Yeah. At the start, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is a bad thing, and then I was like, wait, did the Tremere do something very similar with this kind of blood sharing stuff? Has that not happened? But I was like, surely Tremere haven't fallen so low that this is the situation they find themselves in.
I don't think there's anything directly comparable to the Voldery in what the do, but
I know they do some
stuff with blood.
Even Mandrill thinks of them. They do some weird blood stuff.
If we're going to get really super nerdy about it, the origins of the gargoyle bloodline are quite linked to the Voldery ritual, but that is getting very nerdy about it, and it's definitely not a spoiler in case you were. It's nothing to do with what's going on. One for the nerds. But what was I going to say? I definitely was going to say something, but I can't. I know that one of our characters has come straight from Chicago. That would be Alex, where Alex had fled after the events of in London that drove the Camarilla out. Neill may have a question for me about certain things that Mandrill saw and whether he would know anything about that. The answer is yes. You would have immediately made a link there had you made a similar role,
especially with the Cult 3, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You were well aware that the thing that happened in Chicago happened in Chicago. Yes.
Well, I didn't want to ask about that in part because I didn't want spoilers. So for anyone watching, I played another of Matt's game set in Chicago, only using revised rules, and I'm trying to avoid knowing any, just in case there's overlap. I'm avoiding trying to know of any spoilers between our 1993 Chicago game and now our 2020 Chicago game. So I'm trying not to ask
95 now.
Yeah.
Oh.
97, I think we're in now.
Whatever year, I'm trying to avoid spoilers for the intervening 20 years.
Believe you me drawing the links between these two games and trying to make them all cogent in some way once we actually start picking it back up.
They are in the same
I haven't seen Matt's spreadsheet about this because I'm not allowed because I'm also in the Chicago game. But I have seen Matt sitting there staring at his spreadsheet for days at a time going, what? How
and trying to reconcile that even roughly with the meta plot and White Wolf canon as well, which is a complete cross purposes now that V5 has been released. So that's all a lot of fun and very exciting. Yeah, but there we go. They clearly operate in the same world because a character we have now met is indeed in my other chronicle. So there we go.
I don't like him.
No, that's the impression a lot of people get.
He's helped us out.
Characters don't like Jack, but players love him. He's walking Deus Ex. So, yeah, there we go. I don't think we've got any comments or questions, but thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to the players. Thanks to Steve, our wonderful stream manager. And we'll be back next week at 8 o'clock on Monday. It's possible that at some point soon we might be shifting the day we stream on, but we'll let you know well in advance of that. We'll always, if there's going to be a move, we'll let you know on the Monday 8 o'clock stream first so that you know what's coming. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Check us out on Wednesday, Simbaroom, 8 o'clock, Twitch, here, this place that you're watching now, probably. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.